Namaskar, welcome to the True Hunt. And today's maritime story is related to the national logistic policy supporting the maritime sector and recent problems with the maritime cargo in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, which has created the disruption in the trade. So, we have got Captain Gajanan Karanjikar with us, who is going to discuss about what are the progresses going on in the industry and how the industry is being damaged by the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden problem. So, sir, welcome to the True Hunt. First of all, I would like to know that what is the exact problem going in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, for which recent Interministerial Services Improvement Group had a meeting with some of the ship owner association as well. So, what would you like to say, sir?
Thank you very much for this good podcast on the relevant subject, which is very hot at the moment. And it is hot on two counts. That one is the geopolitics that it revolves and the impact of the geopolitics on the shipping. You see, basically, national logistics policy is there to ensure that the movement of the cargo, which can facilitate international trade, happens seamlessly. Now it has got some prerequisites with respect to the infrastructure, with respect to the skilled manpower, which can facilitate the international trade. Like we have ports, which are the gateways for the cargoes, and it also has got a concern which is generated now around, which is building around security of cargo. Now, Red Sea is a very peculiar example of this. There's an international war which is going on between Israel and Palestinian. Now, that war has somehow escalated to a level where the protesters feel that they can harm international trade and that way put a pressure on international bodies to either of the nations to take action to stop this war. I would stick to basically how does it impact logistics. Now, Suez Canal, by virtue of its geographical position, it is the advantage to the trade to save on time and cost when we have a groups moving from Europe, even Americas, to Asia. Now, basically, Europe is a manufacturing center and Asia is a consuming center. The trade has to be there. But this trade is perfectly impact at the very important point where ship owners, cargo owners have no option but to absorb delays, more cost, or to stop the trade altogether. If you see the statistically, it has got a big impact. I mean, it has on the freight rates, you talk about overall cost of transiting Suez Canal for this cargo has gone 30 to 35% up. So the Red Sea has got a huge problem, and when it will get resolved, nobody knows. So I think the Indian government is trying to, of course, being at the receiving and watching and also helping. We have 10 warships deployed there in Red Sea to protect Indian ships. You know, there's an Indian Ocean region involved, and we have a Vessel Naval Command active on this.
If we talk about this 8th SIG meeting, in which different ship owners association members were present in this meeting, so I would like to ask you, apart from this discussing these issues, they have appreciated the Indian government steps which have supported in this scenario, such as safety vessel crew cargo, which you also talked about, such as activated control room, standardized reporting format, SOP for safety regulations, etc. So how this coordination works into the system?
It is an interministerial group actually, and which is actually advising national logistics policy holders as to what needs to be done to have this kind of trade smoothly done. So if you see, this interaction was taken place between the shipping lines, which had discussed the pertinent issue of Red Sea and its implications on the country's logistics and import export. Very important, today in a country like India, where we import so many goods from other countries, you cannot call it a local kind of a thing. It's a global logistics which is at play. And with this global logistics at play, the issues like Red Sea, all ships moving through the Suez Canal have been impacted. And today, I believe our 12th shipping line has declined to transit Suez Canal because very simply, there is additional cost involved. The additional costs are very heavy because the alternative route, which is through the rounding Cape of Good Hope, South Africa. So look at that. Name a shipping company like MSC, Maersk, CMA, CGM, Hapag-Lloyd, etc. All these companies are at the moment worried whether to send these ships through Red Sea or not. This is also a matter of cargo movement, also a matter of seafarer security. That is also one of the biggest challenges. And again, navigational safety is also one of the reasons. SIG has taken up this matter and linked it to national logistics policy and made them speak about the national cargo security measures and all that. There could be a number of measures taken, which we already do. I mean, every country has got a sovereign right of its this thing. So we also have the pre-arrival notifications and the security reporting system, ships notifications, things like that. We also have those systems in place. Whether we need to expand those reporting system to other regions to ensure that the cargo moves from one country to the other country safely is what we have to see.
International Maritime Organization play a major role in the policies and stuff. What interference can International Maritime Organization do in the problem related to Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, which has disrupted the maritime cargo?
IMO has got a very big role to play in this. And apart from closely monitoring situation, what's happening in Red Sea, if you see the recent statement which came from the General Secretary General Kaitak Lim, which has made a very clear indication of the matter escalating in the Red Sea and there is no end in sight. You see, this particular statement itself speaks volumes that we don't know where the entire thing is going to go. I mean, IMO is monitoring the situation and also advising. There is another organization called Intertanko, which has recently, told its member line to stop transiting through the Red Sea transits. There is a extraordinary meeting also took place with respect to the Djibouti Code of Conduct. With that kind of a meeting, the national focal point was discussed as the Red Sea and the security of cargo and ships in the Red Sea. So IMO is actively involved in entire scenario, and they are definitely looking at wider spread, whether they can look at the diplomatic ties of Djibouti Code of Conduct, and then there's a Jeddah Amendment also in play, and there are some naval forces like the Indian Naval Force also is taken into account.
We could say that it has generated a chaotic situation in the maritime cargo trade. Sir, I would like to ask you, as now India has got a bigger say in the global arena. So, what role can India play in this geopolitics where India has got a better say nowadays? So how do you see that, as India is working a lot to make this maritime sector more blooming one?
See, with recent initiatives of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, he has really taken the discussions and diplomatic ties of India with other countries on a very forefront. Again, coming back to the Israel-Palestinian war, the whole world was, trying to see whether India can intervene. Let's talk about that. Even the Ukraine-Russia war, the India intervened. I mean, there was a visit recently. Jaishankar, our external affairs minister, has visited Iran because the Houthi attacks have been backed up by Iran. So there are definitely talks happening by various Indian officials into the world just to see whether we can impact. But to tell you very frankly, that Indian opinion today matters. It's not like if he wants to stop, he can stop. It is not. It is a very audacious statement and arrogant statement on our part.
Right, right.
But it is not he doesn't want to stop. But it is that how much of a penetration of talks that India can facilitate. Who will listen to you first? Like Israel Prime Minister has got a very good rapport with India. There could be some influential tactics can be done by India, like Putin. So like that, India is trying to see with the G20 summit happening recently, with all world leaders coming to India, they have got a very high place for India.
So especially when we have seen the recent talks with the, as you also mentioned, with the president of Russia, Mr. Putin, and our external minister going to the country and having some of the friendly equations, again showing the world that India and Russia has got certain roots, which speaks a lot. And apart from that, as you also talked, the Tehran meeting was also there. So I hope that these things matter. Sir, we are talking about this national logistics policy, and we have done a lot of sessions on different programs from the maritime sector highlighting different issues. Sir, how do you see this national logistics policy as a whole, which is doing lots and lots of promises for the maritime industry?
National logistics policy definitely involves maritime, because the logistics, the maritime transport is a very main part of logistics. With having that peninsular shape of our country, we have a great potential for cutting the road transport and developing our coastal shipping. So national logistics policy definitely has, maritime transport at its heart. The allied industry which supports maritime transport, be it shipbuilding, be it skill development of Indian seafarers, be it inland waterways, be it terminals and ports, development of those. So that is being taken care by Sagarmala. So Sagarmala and national logistics policy are going to work hand in hand. And national logistics policy's singular aim is to reduce the logistics cost in India. So national logistics policy's entire focus is on model shift of cargo from the road, rail to the sea.
I would like to put on recently PM Gati Shakti Volume 2 has also been launched, and PM Gati Shakti has been closely working on the logistics and how to reduce the cost, and especially when we see the logistics from the sea routes. So people have got in mind that the costing should be more cheaper in comparison to the goods traveling by the air or by the other routes. So we hope for the best regarding this.
Yeah, Gati Shakti is a very important initiative of Prime Minister himself, and the way he leads from the front itself shows the importance. If you want to achieve economic efficiency in the country, there is no way than doing the operations efficiently, and that is what the entire crux of Gati Shakti is: efficiency in road infrastructure, efficiency in cargo loading, discharging, efficiency in having the way you handle maritime transport, the way you handle your ports, and the way you connect them. Gati Shakti is all about this, and absolutely it's a great measure.
When the intent is there, things will happen, though it can take time. Thank you so much, sir.